Welcome to Geek Responsibly Mommy Sellout edition. My name is Jenna.
My name is Bridget.
And today we're going to go through expectations. This is going to be a series following my personal pregnancy. Yay! Things that I'm learning, things that I'm finding out, things that people are scaring me about.
And I get to be the person that's watching every week of this.
And oddly, she wants to do the same thing.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about that. So we've got your personal journey, and then as a friend, watching it happen and being inspired and terrified.
This is great. Let's go. So today we're going to talk about expectations. Expectations, we're going to be talking about our partnership, the pregnancy itself, being a mom, and the kid.
All
right? All of that.
Into...
We will start with our expectations on partners. If you saw our first episode, again, neither one of us have wanted to be pregnant, especially with our previous partners.
Yeah. Once
we got with our current partners, all of a sudden,
window gone.
Primal instinct took over, and we were like, put a baby in me.
Oh my God. Well, and so we're going to talk about that transition. So I had been previously married for about 10 years, and I was a hard pass for children for a very long time. I think roughly around probably my 7th or 8th year, I was starting to come to the idea of like, hey, if it happened, I'd probably be all right. Like, I feel like I'd be a good mom. But at that point, my partner was not. He was not cool with that idea. So that's kind of what ended up, eventually having us kind of split. We were definitely going in two different directions. But I think even when I was still with him, I was definitely not with him, but I was comfortable with the idea of like, yeah, I could probably keep it alive. Like, I could probably do a good job. Like, that's where I was at that point.
Yeah, that's
like,
where you get.
Like, I'd probably, do a decent job. That's where I was at. So not really like on the fence.
Do it.
And a friend who's telling you this too, you're probably like, probably best you don't. Is most likely what everyone's telling me now. Like, as I say it out loud, that sounds horrible, but that's where I was.
Yeah, and
honesty.
My previous relationship, he had made the comment of wanting children, and I was still doing massage therapy and a couple other odd end jobs, and was like, who the fuck's gonna take care of it?
You got your shit together.
So I was like, all right, like, I'm open to the idea of having a kid, but neither of us are capable of taking care of one currently financially. So I quit my job.
You probably were, but you definitely felt it where you're like,
Yeah, I was very scared that I would have to raise the child and him at the same time. So it was a huge turnoff, but at the same time, I was like, okay, well, I guess this is the next phase of life.
Which is crazy that you say that, because like, even though I'm sitting here going, oh, I probably could take care of it, in my mind, I was also under the impression that I'd be doing it myself.
Yes.
Like, that's where I was at. I was like, all right, it's probably gonna be me doing most of the work.
Yes. So then I hightail that relationship, and with Steve, seeing him with his nephews, now niece, his family is very large, and he was just like a gentle giant, and he's
like a giant Viking.
Yes. So I was like, you know what, I could totally see us having kids, and it would be perfect, and we'll have things that we'll disagree on and whatever. But
and when you met him at the beginning of the relationship, I was getting texts, and you were like, I want all the kids. He wants to put kids in me. And I was like, bitch, what? Like, who are you?
Yes.
But I was like, damn, like, that was 100% turnaround.
Yes.
Like, even to not be terrified of the notion is a huge 180. Huge 180.
Yes. But then we got into gaming more. I started streaming. I wanted to focus on
your career,
being, a little more by myself with like not working at a job that's normal in the eyes of society. So I started focusing on that, and so the kids kind of took a back seat, because I was like, oh my God, I would have to stop all of this stuff in order to take care of a
You've
child.
told me too that you're like, I'm 100% going to be a career woman. Mind you, so you're already changing, like with Steve, and you're like, hey, this is, I'm okay with this. I meet my new partner, and immediately I'm like, I want a football
Which
team.
was so funny.
Immediately.
Because I was like,
everyone is shocked when I say something. Yeah, everyone's, who are you?
She never wanted kids.
Everyone was shocked, and then people were excited, and I was like, football team. Totally fine with it. Just pop them out every year. But the thing about it is, people have said, don't they say it? Oh, your timer's going to go off, and you're going to want kids in your 30s.
Yep.
I'm 33.
I'm 34.
And I've never wanted kids, and now I can sit there. I feel like I need to tell everyone else going, yeah, it's going to be your mid-30s.
Yeah. So I see all these like younger kids, and now I'm like, sister, come here.
Yeah.
Have babies now.
Which is crazy, because we would have never said that, because it's like we're in our 20s and we're like, oh no, don't drink the water, right?
Yeah.
And now,
and it's all joking, yeah.
And today though, you were telling me now, you're like, I wish I probably would have started my family sooner, which is insane, because we would have never said that, and here we are in our 30s going, babies.
Well, I think it's also because, like, for me, this pregnancy has been really rough.
Oh, girl.
And I don't know if it's because I'm older and my body is just like, what's happening?
So you're like,
I feel like Jabba the Hutt.
So you're like yelling at yelling at yourself, like, why didn't you do this earlier? This would have been so much easier.
Yeah, it could have been done.
You have no idea. You have no idea if it would have been easier. It could have been just as bad.
Yeah. It
now
could
you're
have
just
been,
be old. No,
yeah, I know. Now I'm just going to be old and decrepit while Steve's having fun with our kid. And I'm like, how's our son?
I can't see him from here. I can't see them. What are they doing? What color is her hair?
Bring them closer. Closer. All I could think of is Harry Potter.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. But yeah, so it's crazy. I'd say I don't necessarily want to say I believe that you're going to have a timer, ladies, that's going to hit and you're going to like babies, but I do believe a big factor of that is going to be who your partner is.
Yes.
And I do think, before I would say, no, that's not the case, but going through what I've gone through and seeing what she's gone through, 100% the case. 100%. There's just something about the person that you're with when you see them, either with children or you just have a feeling. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, there's something that just sparks and then you're like, all right, I will forever be your at-home wife.
But I also think, so on the opposite flip side of expectations and partners, there are, the thing with pregnancy and sometimes going into, what I've had some friends tell me, like after delivering, is sometimes there's unfair expectations about your partner. And I've heard there's been some ladies who talk about, well, I wish they would just, not expect, I guess, that they would sense what they need.
Yeah.
And they don't say anything to their partner, which ends up me having to listen to very aggro conversations of them being really negative about their husband, but they're not telling them what they're looking for.
And that
could be a hard thing.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because like the other day Steve was working and he works late now. And I was maybe done with dinner or something, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I'm nauseous. I'm gonna go lay down, and I had like this splitting headache. My brain was on fire. I felt like puking, and so the only thing I could do is started crying. I started crying in bed, not sure what to do, and I'm like moving my feet, like, because I'm like, that's the only thing that's making me feel like somewhat like calm. It's just like rubbing my feet together
as you're full body sobbing.
Yes, and then I hear Steve come up the stairs, and he was gonna go into his office, and he like came into the bedroom. He's like, "Are you okay? Like, what happened?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just don't feel well. I have this massive headache. I feel sick. I don't know what to do." And he's like, "Why are you moving your feet?"
Because that's the only thing
that's the only thing that's making me calm. And so he like panicked, and he like called his mom. And she's like, "Oh, honey, just put an ice pack on her head." So I got like Tylenol. I put an ice pack on my head, and like I took something else and like just sat there and like fell asleep with like an ice pack on my head. But like he didn't know, like he was just downstairs. Like, So luckily,
and you didn't know that was going to soothe you, right?
Yeah,
it's like
and I'm glad that he found
crazy ass life experience.
The other thing too is like he gets off of work and he wants to wind down, so he goes and plays video games. Where I've literally worked, then I cooked dinner, and then like I sat around by myself, read a book. Like then I watch TV shows, and then I go and I fall asleep
because you're exhausted. All day,
but like I haven't seen him all day, and then he just goes and plays video games, and then I'm like, well, I just want him to be around because I feel like I'm an outcast.
Like she told me today,
I'm not fun.
She told me today, like she had a conversation where she's like, I know I'm not fun, but I'd like to hang out because she's been sick. And it's like, well, then I mean, you tell him how it is. You're being honest, and that helps. That helps is sharing the expectations.
Which the next day, which was last night, he sat and watched Big Bang Theory with me in bed.
And that's all you needed.
And that's all I needed. I felt great. Like, if he went to go play video games now today, I would totally be fine. Because I was like, oh, yesterday he hung out with me.
But yeah, so I think expectation, especially with a partner, it does make a huge difference. I think communication and communicating those expectations throughout the pregnancy and after, very much after, is going to help. One thing I wanted to ask you about too, is expectations about, I guess, the pregnancy in general. Because in my head, when I was okay with the idea of being pregnant, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll probably love it. I'll glow. It'll be great. The thing that scared me the most was actually having to care for a child. Because then I thought I could kick in and be like an awesome mom at like age 12 and on. Because I want to get to that age where they're like uncomfortable and awkward, and I want to embarrass the shit out of them.
Oh,
so
great.
My idea of being pregnant would be like, oh, it's probably going to be great. Yeah. How has it been?
So I found out I was pregnant 2 months in. So I had no idea. I've been having hormonal issues anyway, and like my period has been extremely sporadic. So I didn't think about anything, and for the longest time I thought I had COVID for like 3 weeks straight. So I finally was like, fuck it, I'll take a COVID test.
Yeah.
Because clearly I'm dying, and I can't tell my mother that she was right that
you got COVID.
You can get COVID and like be sick forever. So I go in, I'm about to take my COVID test, which it was just driving through a drive-through and be done with it. And I was like, for some intuitive instinct, I was like, I'm going to take a pregnancy test.
For shits and giggles.
Like, I don't know why. And so I go in and take this pregnancy test, and sure shit, it's a plus symbol. And I was just like...
When you did it, would you like, wouldn't that be something? Did you think, like, wouldn't that be fucking something?
Well, I didn't even think that. Like, there was no thought. Like, it was literally something possessed my body
to do it.
To take a pregnancy test. I had, like, no remembrance of what I was thinking, what I was doing. And then all of a sudden, I'm taking this pregnancy test. So, I go in, take the pregnancy test. It's a plus symbol. I go, that's a fucking lie. So, and I'm like sitting there like thinking, what the fuck? So I go take the pregnancy test, and during the pregnancy,
how many did you end up taking?
So I took 2. Okay. During the COVID test, I went to go take that, and I went and called my OB and was like, I think I need to do a checkup and a pregnancy test. And they were like, have you already taken a pregnancy test? I was like, yeah. She's like, honey, that's your proof. And I was like, I think it's broken.
Which I think you called me very shortly after.
It may have been the same day.
I think you called me the same day.
I think it was the same day.
And I laughed my ass off because you call me the day that happens, and you're going through this because you are very elaborate, and I love that about you. So she's telling me her whole fucking day.
How sick I am.
How sick. COVID, blah, blah. Painting the fucking picture. And what set it off, and I remember you saying this, you said that you had made a salad and you threw it up. And I stopped her in the middle of this. I go, are you trying to tell me what I think you're trying to tell me?
And I said, yeah, I think so.
But that's what, like, you threw up salad? That's not you.
Yeah. I was trying to be healthy. Like, literally, I thought I either had COVID or literally diabetes. Because I would, like, eat all day, but, like, small amounts. Because, again, I was trying to get back in shape. And then I would go to bed, but my stomach was like so hungry. I was like, am I insulin resistant that bad?
Like my sugars.
My sugar's not working.
See, because you called me and then you were on the phone, you go, I think I need to call the OBG now.
No, I already did before that.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
I just left because, like, once you like realize that you were, you're like, shit, like I guess I gotta do this now. Like you're like, what? Like you were in a daze, like on the phone. You're like, yeah, like I think I'm supposed to do this, and I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna have to download some apps. Like you were definitely like, fuck, like shit, okay.
This is happening.
So is that what you expected? Did you always expect like it'd be like a little like, oh shit, or were you, because I always imagined myself that when I got pregnant I would be like, oh my god, I'm so fucking like I'd be the girl on the happy commercial.
But that's the thing, like I think you will be if you're excited to get pregnant.
Yeah,
there was no, you were not
surprised.
Excited, not
because you were like, I'm ready for COVID, and you're like, oh no, you're gonna have a kid, and you're like, oh, was not expecting that.
Yeah, I was like, oh wait, that was completely out of left field. Okay,
I have to prepare now.
From there, the nausea and like everything that I was feeling previously did go away for a little bit, but now it's back full force and wants to come back with a vengeance. So I've been literally nauseous every night for the most part. If I don't eat properly, nothing sounds good to eat.
Except Wendy's.
So I felt like I would be like, oh, you're glowing, your skin looks great, your hair is growing.
You'd be like, cute belly, and you're like, oh my god.
Oh, look at all your outfits. And now I'm like sweatpants and fucking big sweaters. I fucking sometimes don't even shower now.
Which I feel like no one talks about because, like, I know my sister is pregnant and she's about to pop her kid out at this time. And I know towards the end, she's like, she needs to get out. And she's like over it. But I feel like this is and they don't live here. So this is my first experience, like one-on-one, like watching someone go through this. And yeah, I feel like it's kind of glorified a little bit. Like it's meant to be glorified.
Yes.
But then you have people who are like, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm dying. Yeah. And your skin stretches and your boobs grow.
It's like a horror film. Like, what's going on?
An alien gets inside you and it's like,
you have no, like, from what you're telling me, it's like no control of your body. Mm-mm. And you're like, yeah, sometimes, like, I just need to, like, I want to go outside and then I immediately want to throw up. Yep. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah. I think I want food. And when I put the food in my mouth, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm sick.
Over it.
Yep.
Or I really feel like this will taste great. And you're like, the raspberries.
Yeah. I haven't had raspberries since.
I was so bummed because you like loved raspberries, got one. You're like, they were just disgustingly sour. I was like, but you love raspberries.
Yeah. Hormones change your taste buds and everything. So it's not what I expected.
And now she's like doing this.
Saying, I hope second trimester is better.
Which at this point I'm like, I feel like everyone's lying because I don't know if that's
so everybody's like, wait for second trimester. It's gonna be the best. But it's gonna be like 2020. I can't wait for 2020 to be over. And then 2021 comes around and it's the same shit.
But
different year.
But let's think about this. Same with expectations for partner and same for like, oh, when you're 30, your timer's gonna go out and you're gonna want babies, right?
Yeah.
Everyone talks about the second trimester, so maybe
I'm hopeful.
That it's hopeful. Enough that people fucking say that it's not just a wives' tale. Yeah. That you're gonna be good.
I also have read that people are sick throughout their whole pregnancy.
You know, let's not dwell on the bad things.
The funny thing is people say second trimester is the best. You get all this energy, you feel better, you get horny, all this stuff, and then they're like, but then it comes back third trimester, and I'm like,
and why even put the second in there? God, why? Why even give you that, like, the months of, like, pure joy for it to suck after? I don't know if I can't consider pure joy. We'll see how yours is. We'll see if it's pure joy.
We'll see. So then we can go into the expectancy, or what we expect of being a mother. Yes.
Let's do mother and also children, like the kids.
So I expected, one, because I'm shitty at everything maternal, I feel. But somebody said, well, how do you feel about your pets? And I'm like, well, I love my pets and I would do anything for my pets. And they're like, well, times that by whatever, and that's how you're going to be with your kid. And I'm like, okay, like I can kind of see that. But what I expect of my motherhood is I want to be like that perfect mom that's like glowing and like, here, child, here's the bottle.
I can't wait till we do our first episode when the baby's here. You're gonna be a fucking wreck. You're gonna be like hair everywhere and you're like, I haven't slept in days.
Fucking bun on the top and I'm like sideways glasses.
Yep.
So
You're like, take it.
other thing is I've been watching like influencers now that literally Instagram is all moms now on mine. And literally I find all these people that are have delivered and they're talking about like how they haven't washed their hair, this and that, and they're like, I'm just gonna go.
I'm not even pregnant, and I've been looking for anything that's like post after having a baby, because I'm so curious to how your body reacts and what you have to go through after having a baby, because I'm terrified of that.
So one thing that I did learn, one of the things, is depending on where it comes out. So if you have a vaginal birth, sorry, TMI.
Vaginal birth.
If you have a vaginal,
that's when you put the thing on there.
Vaginal birth.
The more you know.
The more you know. G.I. Joe.
That's where it comes out, kids. Sometimes the tummy.
So if you do have...
Never the butt. Sorry.
If you do have a V-birth, we'll call it that. It hurts after.
Yeah.
Obviously, because a football just came out. Or bigger. So women take these pads, douse them in aloe vera and something else, or witch hazel, and they just freeze them.
Ooh, that sounds fantastic.
And they close them up, freeze them, and then once something happens, you
like
just put them in there.
I feel like
then
you're
I found out that you had to have. So that's what I'm trying. I'm like, I need everything.
Yeah.
They also talk about mesh underwear. So I've been looking for mesh underwear. Like, why do I need mesh underwear?
I mean, would it be like this?
Yeah. Like, I need to figure out why I need mesh underwear and where to get them.
I don't think fishnet underwear would.
No. But mesh underwear is very similar when I was looking it up. It's on Amazon. They look like briefs.
Trying to think of what I was trying. I lost it. It was there and I lost it. Know what
Another thing I found out,
because I was too busy thinking about mesh underwear,
is I would like to breastfeed. Yes. Another TMI. Sorry. I would like to try, but something else that we don't talk about is the amount of women who, one, don't produce.
Yeah.
And expectation from Steve. He goes, well, your boobs grew 2 sizes, so obviously there's doing something. Guess what? You don't find out if you can produce milk until the baby comes out.
Oh, shit.
Did you know that?
It might just be for show.
Yeah.
Oh,
they might be the glands.
Show.
They might be the glands getting and preparing.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you will actually produce milk after.
Interesting.
So some people can't. Other women get mastitis, which is like an infection in the glands, and it's painful as hell, and you still have to pump, but then you can't, like, then, as I get nauseous, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, don't.
Then the baby might not latch.
Or it's going to and bite the shit out of your nipples.
So now we have the biting nipple.
Or the nipple guard.
Or the sucking.
Yeah.
Now you have a nipple guard. Your nipples could bleed. And there's some sucker butter that's on my desk right now that I got.
Well, and it's not just you, because a friend of mine who had just given birth, she was very open about it. She's like, oh yeah, she was like destroying her nips. I was like,
yeah,
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's why people who chose, my one friend who just gave birth, they chose to bottle feed, because she knows that if she did that, like, she could still pump, but then she knows she could have him help out with feeding. So it's
that's the other thing.
The mom having to do it.
So there's pros and cons to everything, and I think it's nice to, even if she does pump, you can freeze your milk.
Yeah.
And make popsicles and a bunch of other shit. So yay! I'm excited to make popsicles.
Are you gonna try it?
Oh fuck yeah!
Okay.
I'm gonna try, and then I have to look for breast pumps.
I mean, are you gonna try your own? Are you gonna try your own brand?
Oh. No, do people do that?
Yes, people do that. There's people who sell it, so other people who can't produce. But I saw it. This girl like overproduces, and then like they'd have it in their eggs, or they'd have it for cereal.
No.
And like they also had a dude who was buying it because he
no.
No.
Then this
guy who was buying breast milk because he was using it to build muscle. So he did that instead of protein. He was buying breast milk from some woman. And you can charge a lot for your booby milk.
Okay, we're gonna start. I'm gonna be a cash cow.
Think about the business.
I am now a new cash cow.
But then it turns into like Mad Max. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Mother's milk.
So honestly,
just gross myself out. We're gonna do a whole thing about.
There's a lot of fear that I have with pregnancy, especially labor.
Yeah.
And delivery.
If there's no COVID. You want me in there? I don't know if I want to be in
I don't
there.
think you'd want to be in there.
Maybe
I've seen some videos.
Maybe if I stay up by your head. Like, I don't think I want to be downtown.
I don't know how many people can be in there. I know Steve will be there.
Maybe you can text me when you're done.
Yeah, you can come in and visit and just see the little one.
Just text me when you're done, and I'll bring you a burger or something.
So, and I'm excited to actually eat my first meal without feeling nauseous and stuffed.
But does that go away? Who knows? Maybe, like, immediately?
From what my brother's wife said, she said she was so excited to get him out so she could actually eat a meal without feeling pressure. Because, like, again, like I said, like, once I eat, it's like 2 bites and I'm done. Because everything's all, like, shoved in there and, like,
real estate is just all over.
We'll just wait till it gets bigger, and then all of a sudden it's, like, sitting on my bladder as well as my stomach. And Steve's sister said that one of her kids would always move its leg over here and she would have to move it back. How the fuck does it get back there? She was, like, moving it back this way.
Hold on, we got pregnancy brain. So what's your expectations of being a mom?
Oh, it's gonna be great. So my expectation again is I want it to be super, like, I want to be educated and I want to be prepared. What I know what's gonna happen is I'm literally going to throw everything out the window and cry in the corner. I'll probably have my mom live with me for like 2 years. So I can just hand it to her while I'm in a meltdown. And then that's not even talking about postpartum depression or anything. Postpartum anything.
I do think it's really nice to talk about having your mom help, because I do feel like a lot of women take it on themselves and they try to do a lot by themselves.
And you don't have to.
And no one talks about it. And postpartum, we're going to have a whole episode for that too. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of people don't. I feel like it's gotten out more, but I still feel a lot of people don't talk about it.
Correct.
So, yeah.
So, expectation on kid. I see my brother and his wife's kid, and he's always smiling. He's always happy. But she was very strict with his sleeping schedule. Yeah. He was already sleeping in his own crib at 1 month through the night because of the stuff that she was doing. And it was like so I've been watching, it's called Taking Kara Babies. Her name's Kara. And she has these like classes to teach you how to put your kid to sleep on a specific schedule. And it's not like
you're deep diving. I love this.
Oh yeah. So it's not like feed and go to sleep. Wait, is that right? So what people usually do, it's like,
as far as photography, usually have them do milk drunk.
So there's a specific way that they like kind of collect their day to make it so it's like, you know, every 2 hours you wake them up, they have to have a specific schedule, then they eat, and then they like do stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like back down. And then, but like it's either like sleeping and then eating or vice versa. I can't remember. But like, and again, I'm trying not to deep dive too much into that because obviously it's not here.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I don't want to like get ahead of myself and like miss what's going on now.
I get that, but I do think it is nice. You're gonna have months of time to look up everything. Yes. Which there's a fucking ton of shit to look up.
Correct. So I want to get through like the labor and delivery part, and then get to, you know, acclimating to breastfeeding, and then I want to get into, okay, now it's time to get a sleep schedule because I don't want to lose sleep. Yeah. But he's always happy. He's always super sweet. He's like, you know, just chilling, doing his own thing. What happens if my kid is a fucking terror, is crying, is up 2, 4, 6 all night?
We don't know.
We have no idea. So
we don't know what's
expectations.
I think for my expectations I think you're going to be a great mom. I think you're going to do a good job. I think you might drop the child maybe once, but they'll bounce.
I've thought of that. I'm like, I think I was dropped a couple of times. So I'm good.
So when I talked to, because when you told me this, I talked to my sister, because she already has a child, and I was asking her everything about it, and she's like, you know, you think you're a good mom. She's like, and then I questioned myself, because then she's like, yeah, like I had her up on my shoulders and I forgot there was like this thing. So she walked through a thing and like the kid hit the top. Or like, I'm telling you, it's the funniest shit. And then she's like, oh yeah, and we have that little cement stair that's like by the thing, and she fell and tripped, and it like dented her head for a day or some shit. And she's like, but they're pretty durable. I'm like, oh my god. She's like, so you think you're a good mom, then you look back and you're like, oh fuck, like she's gonna be on baby number 2, so we'll see what happens. But that made me feel nice, like good to hear my sisters like, yeah, you don't really know what the fuck you're doing, you just kind of like figure it out. Like even reading everything, what happens if it's a terror?
Yeah,
you're like,
you have no idea,
because you're reading the manual, right? And you're like, but it doesn't go down at 8:30. Why is it screaming? Like, it'll be interesting.
Yes. So we'll see how it goes. We're still too early on to find out.
Again, I think it's gonna be hilarious, and if it ever happens to me, I'll be hoping for great things. But I can't wait for your kid to get here. Fast forward to like the awkward years of 12 to 13, because that's where I want to be. Like, I really like when their lives are going into a chaotic motion and they're like a little bit of a teen drama, but like you get to watch it from start to finish. If anyone's ever seen the Goldbergs, how his mom is exactly what I want to be. I want to be just so embarrassing. Even if I'm just an auntie, I will do that. That's totally fine with me. Like,
perfect.
You're like, oh god, it's mom's friend. God, Bridget showed up. She's so weird.
I can't wait.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Yep, it's gonna be awesome. Well,
thank you for sitting down for expectations.
Yes, and continue for next amazing journeys that are coming. Yeah. But as always, remember to geek responsibly.